Thank you for taking time out for the session. Today is our eighth session on therapeutic usage of yoga. We have tried to cover how yoga works and how it impacts our body, how it impacts our nervous system, how movement helps us, etc. Since it is the closing session on therapeutic yoga, we will be going through each one of them in a summarized manner. And there are a few concepts that still need a little more elaboration. We will do that as well. As always, please feel free to stop and ask, share your thoughts with whatever we are discussing. That helps us build the discussion and make it more personal. So let us start today's session. I'll give you a session by session recap of what we have done. We started off by going through the details of what we mean when we talk about therapeutic usage of yoga and how does it actually come about. That was our first session. Like, generally, what do we talk when we think of yoga? Yoga is for fitness. There are few diseases, especially if it is a joint pain or a knee pain or a neck pain, yoga will be useful, and flexibility and strength. So that's the absolute novice view of yoga, how it helps us. And then if you go deeper, you can see how it impacts your internal organs. And in turn, it helps you manage several dysfunctions and diseases in the body. And then there is a layer deeper that we can go where we can understand how yoga impacts your breath and your nervous system. And that in turn impacts your hormonal balance in the body. So, from an absolute top layer view of how yoga impacts the muscles and the bones and the joints, to the next layer of how it impacts the organs, to the deepest layer where we are talking about the nervous system regulation through yoga. So, this is the journey that we must travel. Like, we must make an effort to understand when we practice yoga, what it does to my body at multiple layers. If I can understand the impact yoga has on how I function, my practice will change from a mechanical practice to a very conscious practice. Bringing intentionality in my practice is one of the key criterias of improving in yoga and utilizing yoga for better health. If yoga has to give me the maximum amount of benefit, I must bring in intentionality in my practice. We did expand on intentionality as we went along. We did focus on how yoga has to be practiced in a conscious, more attentive, more focused manner. That was our discussion for the first session. Now, then we went into the details of the mechanisms. There are 5 primary areas. One was nervous system regulation. Second was how breath and nervous system regulation work in tandem and how yoga impacts our breath awareness and breath regulation. Third, we discussed how movement repatterning can help us. Yoga postures are helping me move better. There are different ways we move. There are different pressure points. There are different systems that get activated, how circulation and how lymphatic system gets activated, and how the different kinds of stretches, pressurizing the muscles and twisting the muscles help my body. So that was the understanding of the pressure system, and then the understanding of different kinds of movement and realignment because of the movement. So this is the movement repatterning that we discussed. We used couple of sessions to do this actually. Then we also had a deep discussion on how body and mind is one single system. Our last session was dedicated to understanding and discussing how body and mind work together. To treat body and mind as separate systems is faulty, or it is incorrect actually. So body does impact the mind, and mind does impact the body, in the sense, if there is stress, if there is agitation in the mind, it will have an impact on my body. If my mind is in a good state, it feels safe, operationally optimum, then you can see its impact on my physical health. And similarly, if the physical health is disturbed, mind cannot be at ease. So body and mind both as a connected whole is something that we must understand. We must try to inculcate actively. This knowledge probably we have now, but we do not utilize this knowledge, or we do not fully understand the impact of this connect, that body and mind is a connected whole and not a separate system. This is an understanding we must grow into. There are a few other topics that got highlighted. Mm, the idea that dysfunction and disease, there are two things, and how yoga works best at the dysfunction level and not at the disease level. I'll revisit that topic today. And lifestyle changes is equally important for yoga to help us. For yoga to take effect, lifestyle changes are important. And for lifestyle changes to happen, we need to become aware of what is wrong with my lifestyle. This awareness that there is something that needs to get better with how I live my life, that my quality of life can get better if I make some changes in my lifestyle. This awareness many of us lack. And this is where attention training comes into picture. Attention training is also very much part of my yoga practice. When I'm doing yoga, and my attention goes through each and every muscle that is being utilized, that is being unnecessarily stressed, that is being underutilized. So my awareness of the body as a physical system gets enhanced because I am training my attention one muscle at a time throughout the hour that I practice. Then, if you are training yourself into pranayama meditation, you're training for attention. So, attention training helps you understand where you are going wrong vis-a-vis your lifestyle. Once that is established, then it is easier to do a course correction, remodel your life, bring about small changes, bring about bigger changes in your lifestyle to live a better life. Attention training as a part of therapeutic usage of yoga, we discussed. So this is broadly what we discussed in the past 7 sessions. And now we come to a point where we will try to stitch all of them together also. And few of the things that we missed out, we will expand. Any thoughts or questions or remarks you have vis-a-vis what we discussed, or generally if you want to ask anything about yoga practice and benefits of yoga, please feel free to share. So nervous system, let us bring our attention on nervous system as well. So nervous system is the master regulator, because all information passes through this like extremely extensive mesh of information highway, where so much is happening, where inputs are being taken from all five senses. They go through my spine to the brain, and brain analyzes the input and responds. There is a motor response. There are functions that I do not have control over, like my digestion will happen automatically, my breathing continues no matter what. There is a whole system in place where information is being collected from outside and is being passed on through the nervous system to the brain, and then brain responds, and the nerves carry back the information for my motor organs to respond, for my sensory perceptions to feel and to get activated and to respond accordingly. Your automatic nervous system keeps on working because there are things that needs to work without interruption for me to be alive. There is one aspect of nervous system that we did not touch during this discussion, but we have discussed before. My gut has more neurons than my spinal cord. My gut needs to function properly for much of my body to function properly. And this is one system that I cannot mm, give less importance to. So it is so very important for me to understand the role that my gut plays in how I feel, how I respond, and the vagus nerve that we were talking about, which is key to move from a fight or flight mode to a rest and repair mode. The 80% of my vagus nerve actually travels through my gut, and there are more than 500 million neurons available to my gut. So much is happening through the gut, and so much of information passes through my gut to the brain and back and forth. My energy system, how I feel during the day, much of it is controlled by my gut. My gut health can be improved with what I eat, but it can also be improved by how I move. The twisting motions in yoga practice is rarely available to me in any other form of exercise. The midsection twist through multiple yoga postures helps my gut perform better. There are multiple yoga postures that impact my digestive organs directly and indirectly impacting my gut health. So, yoga and the postures that are available through yoga has a direct impact on the digestive juices that get secreted, and hence gut health gets impacted, which is responsible for so much of my health, directly or indirectly. So, this is also one aspect my therapeutic usage of yoga that was not discussed in detail, but is extremely important. Similarly, my gut, my digestive system performs better if I am calm and if I'm relaxed and if I feel safe. So then I don't get bloated, then I don't get much of acidity, and whatever I eat, the healthy food that I'm eating gets assimilated better by my blood if I am more calm, more relaxed, and less anxious. That happens if you are into breath regulations. If you are someone who is regulating its breath, then it has an impact, an indirect impact, but an impact nevertheless, which is of consequence on your gut microbiome and gut health. So this is one bit that I missed out discussing about nervous system, but nervous system regulation is important. Again, I go back to how nervous system comes into play and why is it central to my yoga practice. 3 to 4 decades ago, idea was that I there are only two states in which I behave. Either it is a fight or flight mode or rest and digest mode. But as time has progressed, there is a view where it is understood that I do not oscillate between these 2 points. I have multiple degrees of stress and multiple degrees of relaxation that I can exhibit as a human being. No, Malasan is only very little bit about gut health. It is more to do with your pelvic joint. Things that put pressure on the stomach and the abdominal region will be more useful vis-a-vis gut health. This is I'm cut. Like I moved away from what I was speaking because Chunilalji had a question on Malasan and does it help my gut health or not? So that is about the nervous system that we were talking about. That we, if I want to regulate my body and the impact of stress that I feel on my body mind system, if that needs to be regulated, my nervous system needs to be regulated, and yoga helps me do that. This is the crux of the discussion. Now, for my nervous system to perform better, it has to feel safe, and it has to feel safe in three layers. One, it has to feel safe vis-a-vis the external environment that it is operating in. If, say, you are in the forest or by the river or in front of a mountain, these are natural places where body feels relaxed. In a city where there is so much noise, so much pollution, and the external environment is hardly conducive for human life, we feel threatened. So this is the environmental impact. And to feel safe, my external environment, or for the nervous system to feel safe enough to perform at its best, the external environment plays a role. We don't have much control over where we live and where we operate from. And hence, that is something which is beyond us. Second is people whom we interact with. They need, we must feel those, the responses that I'm getting from my people I interact with are not threatening. So I must feel good slash safe around the people I operate. That's another layer of information that my nervous system imbibes. Third, I should feel safe in my body, which means all the vital functions of my body should perform well enough for my nervous system to feel that it is okay, like the body is functioning okay, and hence there is nothing to worry about. So these are three layers in which the nervous system feels either threatened or safe. How we interact with people and their impact on us is somewhat within my hand, and how I am in my body is also almost entirely in my hands. Unless I have met with an injury, if I can control my lifestyle, if I can eat properly, if I can sleep well, nutritionally, I'm eating well enough, I'm drinking enough water, if the basics of right living I am doing okay, then most of the diseases, what we call lifestyle related diseases, will not bother us, can be checked at the level of dysfunction. So nervous system can feel good if I am operating with this idea in mind that my lifestyle has to be regulated. Not always my lifestyle is under my control, or do I live a life which is promoting good health. Many a times I am at fault. Similarly, how people react to me is not always under my control, and my emotions are also not under my control, that how I respond to people. These two deficiencies can cause my nervous system to feel threatened. Yoga can help me calm down and bring about a regulation, so that even if I have gone off track vis-a-vis my responses emotionally and vis-a-vis my lifestyle, I can bring myself back on track by calming down my nervous system. So this is the role of yoga, so that I feel safe in my own body and in my immediate environment. How does yoga do that? It uses two mechanisms primarily. One is your breath control, so that it can tell the body and the mind that it's right now not an anxious time, you can relax. And by moving the body in a way that it helps your heart and your pressure system to work properly, so that you feel safe in the body. Movement also is responsible for the kind of hormones that get released. Movement is also responsible for reducing the stress hormones in the body. So, breath movement combines, like breath regulation and movement repatterning. These are two primary methods that yoga applies to help you calm down and regulate your nervous system. So, this is the expansive view of the things that we discussed previously. Now, how these things are related. So, see, we discussed about environmental stresses that are outside. This is how modern life is arranged. And if there is threat perception, then my sympathetic nervous system gets activated, which results into my muscles getting tightened, me guarding myself, or there is a hormonal disruption, or my lymphatic system stagnates. These things lead to weakness or reduced immunity. Yoga helps you calm down through breath regulation, through movement, and it helps you overcome pain and weakness and mobility issues. That brings back quality of life, helps you regulate your nervous system, and it brings about strength, like muscular strength, and helps you improve your bone density. Three things like improving your mobility, building up your strength, and regulating your nervous system. These are antidotes to modern day problems I encounter. S- Now, for yoga to do this, you have to engage yourself in practice, like through yoga postures and breath regulations. Once you are into yoga practice and breath regulation, you are also training your attention, which in turn helps you identify imbalances in the body, weaknesses in the body, wherever there is a gap in your lifestyle, wherever there is a gap in your routine, you can identify that. You can identify your emotional stressors better. And then again, you can apply yourself to change whatever gap that you identify. So, this is the sequence of events and how yoga operates. So, first, I'm repeating once again the sequence of events. First is the modern life that brings about its challenges. Those challenges result into either lifestyle related issues, or because of me being tense and stressed, my muscles go tight in the jaw, in the arm, in the neck, etc. That tightness can result into weakness or stiffness. Then there can be a hormonal disruption. Then there can be lymphatic system that can stagnate. So several important functions of the body can get impacted because I'm stressed. That stress can be real, that can be imaginary. Whatever be the reason for the stress, there will be an impact on the vital functions of the body. Now, yoga with its movement, with its breath regulation, awareness training, these three things combined together helps my muscles, my bones, my nervous system, which impacts other organs of the body. Simultaneously, as I'm training my attention, I can find out gaps in my own behavior, lifestyle, and bring about positive changes there. So, this is the multi pronged approach by which yoga can help us. Some directly, some in a roundabout way. Any thoughts or questions, please? We discussed specifically how heart health gets impacted through yoga practice, talk about heart health and yoga's impact on it. We are looking at three things. One is nervous system regulation, and so my breathing is regulated. Then building up the circulation so that the blood flow is proper, and heart as a muscle performs better with yoga practice. So these are three areas in which yoga has a positive impact whenever we talk about heart health. Then we had a discussion on the impact of yoga on our kidneys and how we can improve kidneys function through the practice of yoga. It is primarily the movement repatterning part and the pressure system, especially the twisting part, that helps kidneys perform better. So, kidneys are deeply influenced by circulation, the quality of circulation, the amount of cortisols that gets released because of chronic stress. So, these are two things that impact our kidneys' health quite a bit: circulation quality and the cortisol levels. Now, both of these can be positively impacted through yoga practice, twisting postures where there is asymmetrical pressure along the waist and the upper body, especially above the navel. And like we do Gomukhasana, we lock our body in a manner where we are holding the blood, and then when we release the Garudasana, there is a gush of fresh blood that passes through the kidneys. So that kind of choking and release helps the kidney perform better. So that's another area we had discussed last time. Hypertension positively impacted joints. They get hugely impacted, especially if it is chronic pain, which is stress induced. The thing that we charted out was that if there is stress, my capillaries and my veins that carry blood get ever so slightly pressed, and continuous pressure over a period of months and years reduces the amount of nutrition that they can carry, which results into weakness. And that weakness over a period of time results into pain. And if I can reverse this whole thing by reducing stress and then allowing the blood to flow properly and by relaxing the muscles, then the pain will go away. So, this is one way. Pain which is stress induced can be eased out through yoga practice. These are various areas in which yoga has an impact. Going forward, I want to take up one organ at a time. I want to get into one internal organ every week and discuss how yoga helps and which postures to practice if we want to positively impact a particular organ. That is for coming weeks. That's how I want to progress through how yoga impacts the body. I take a pause. If you have a question or a thought, please feel free to share. Remember, we were talking about lymphatic system last time, which is like a garbage collection system which depends upon movement. So earlier we used to think that is the only system we have, but brain has its own system to clear out all the debris that is collected because of constant chemical reactions in the brain. Now, that is called the glymphatic system. Apparently, it was discovered in 2013 or something. Now, glymphatic system only works when we are sleeping. In deep sleep, the garbage collection of the brain happens. Now, if my sleep is not proper, not deep enough, then the glymphatic system does not perform at its best. Sleep for brain health, for removing mental fog. So, because residual debris of all the chemical reactions has been flushed out, that can happen only in deep sleep. If we are struggling with sleep, then my brain function gets directly impacted. My cognitive abilities get directly impacted. One of the reasons is that my lymphatic system that should have flushed out debris from my brain has not happened. Now, why we are discussing this? Because yoga does have an impact on my sleep, sometimes through yoga postures, sometimes through breath work, sometimes through meditation. Any of the tools can help me sleep better, and that can impact my brain health positively. You can see that every system of the body, yoga has some role to play. Sleep is something that sometimes we don't take it seriously. We assume that sleep will happen on its own, and if it is not happening, we have very input to give there. Make sure that you take your sleep properly. Like people have waking up routines. Similarly, you should have a winding down routine as well, which can involve pranayam, meditation, yoga nidra. So prepare that to go to sleep and utilize your time carefully, say an hour or two before you go to sleep. What you are doing becomes important. Remember, lymphatic system is at stake. We realize the importance of lymphatic system. There is a specific system for the brain, and that should help take things more seriously. Now, awareness training is part of my yoga practice. In my daily life, there are few things that I can ask myself to redirect my attention to different imbalances that may be present in the body. So I've written down few questions, write them down as well. Heard somewhere Chunil Lalji saying sleep alarm is more important than wake up alarm nowadays. Yes, to plan and move towards mindset that you are about to sleep is important, because earlier you had an end to the day naturally, like you work and then you spend time with your children, maybe watch television, whatever, and then you could wind down and finish your day. With mobile phones being by your side all the time, there is no real end to the day. You are constantly being fed with information. We think watching YouTube or reels relaxes us, but my brain cannot differentiate between information coming as entertainment or information coming as work. At a certain level, it is just information for the brain which needs to be processed. The second layer is my intentionality. If it is work, I put pressure on my mind to remember things, to process it, and to work with it. If it is entertainment, we may or may not process it. But the first layer of information which is received either by entertainment or via email, which comes from work, both are information for the brain. So brain really does not rest. And hence, you will see there are studies that are coming out which highlight the importance of boredom. Like with mobile phones, boredom has been removed from our lives. We cannot even get bored for 2 minutes. We'll check our phone to entertain ourselves. This overexposure and overstimulation of nervous system is getting more and more one of the reasons why we do not sleep well enough. That sleep alarm is more important than waking up alarm. We were talking about attention training. Three sets of questions which you should ask yourself time to see how your body and your mind is doing. The first question is, what is the kind of dysfunction that I'm experiencing? Pointers towards dysfunction is whether there is tightness in the body, if there is an overactive muscle, or if there is a restricted range of motion. If so, where? So say, for example, you are unable to move your neck, but you do not realize it for multiple hours, and then you realize that your neck is stiff. If you realized it earlier, you could have made an effort to find a solution to your stiff neck. Similarly, to see if your jaws are tight or you are holding your shoulders tight or whether you are clenching your fist. So look for tightness in muscles and look for restricted range of movement, whether your arms are moving well or not, ankles are moving well or not, whether your wrist is moving well or not, elbows. Look for range of motion and tightness. Check, give it a thought to understand if there is any kind of tightness that you experience. And to understand if there is a problem with the body, look for weakness. Tightness is different, weakness is different. Identify whether when you're walking, moving, you have enough balance or not. Whether you get tired too quickly, whether there is fatigue setting in earlier than normal. Then you also look for low energy. So weakness and low energy overall. Try to understand how your body is feeling. Then if there is a coordination issue brought about because of imbalance in the body, strength wise, if there is awkward movement, getting up too slow, or if there is poor balance. So if there is a coordination issue between your muscles and two sides of the body, you must become aware of that as well. To become aware of your emotional and mental state, if you are constantly stressed or constantly anxious or you are constantly experiencing low, your mood is not elevated enough to find meaning and purpose. So these are four questions or four areas that you bring your mind to focus on to check on yourself. So it's like a self-assessment that you do. Then you can also look at your breath and the other areas that you should look at yourself to assess how you are doing, whether your nervous system is stressed, overstimulated, or you are feeling calm and you are relaxed enough or not, whether you are stressed unnecessarily. So this is a line of questioning that will help you understand whether your nervous system is constantly overstimulated even though there is no apparent stress. So that then you can focus on relaxing your nervous system. Think if you need to work upon your circulation or your lymphatic system. Now, circulation, you can work upon extensive movements with any vigorous movement, breathing. You must also look at your food. So these are three primary areas: your circulation, lymphatic system, and nervous system. These three, if you have an understanding of the three, uh, are they functioning properly? Do they need separate attention, or I am okay in life? And then you also focus on your energy separately, not only through the perspective of emotional state, but physically, do you feel energetic enough? This is a question that you ask yourself early in the morning, once you come back from work, late in the evening. You ask yourself, how do you feel energy wise? And if, say, you had 8 hours of rest and still you feel that you are lethargic, then you must pursue why you are lethargic or why there is low energy right early in the morning, even though you are well rested. Is it lack of sleep? Is it poor gut health? Is it some residual stress? Is it no movement? What is it that is causing you to feel low on energy, even though there is no reason? Similarly, during the day, you could ask, and if during the day, midday, you are feeling low in energy, look at your breakfast. If it was a carbohydrate rich breakfast, then you will feel low on energy within 2 to 3 hours of having a carbohydrate rich breakfast. So find out the reason. Why will you suddenly feel lethargic midday, say noon? So this is something that you must try and figure out. Over exercise is also a reason that you can feel tired during the day. If you have not recovered from your previous session, then also you will be tired. So find out reasons of low energy and work on them. So this is like a self-assessment that you do on tightness, weakness, coordination issue, mental or emotional issues, and your energy levels. So go through these checkpoints, and if you find any problem with any of these, then you can apply yourself. So this is how you train your attention. Thoughts on aspects that we just discussed? Go through it in your mind, and if you have a comment, please share. Now, we did discuss intentionality of practice, which brings about real change, both in body and mind. If you are into physical practice without a purpose, deep understanding and deep focus or conscious practice, it may still improve your fitness, but will have limited impact on how you manage stress. Those who go to gym or people who are doing Zumba, they are into physical activity and it can improve their fitness levels, but people don't look at gym or Zumba session for long-term solution of stress. The reason is that they are totally involved with that form of exercise only for the physical fitness aspect, and there is no greater purpose attached to that practice. And even though all forms of exercise do have an impact on how it regulates stress, we do not look upon a gymming session to help me handle stress related issues. Physical practice without purpose improves fitness but has limited therapeutic value. Physical practice with understanding of the mechanism, like what it is doing, it will help you bring about change in your nervous system regulation. Understanding is important because understanding brings about intentionality. If you are intentional in your practice, you will not feel guilty about not giving your 100% in every practice session. We always want to perform at our best in a yoga session or any form of exercise. Nobody wants to do it casually. If you have reached your yoga mat, if you have taken the trouble of coming from your home to the studio and to lay out your mat, then you have shown your commitment to the practice. Now, intentional practice does not mean that you will practice with lot of intensity every time. What it means is that you will be able to regulate your practice as demanded by your body mind system. If your mind is resisting because of stress, you will know that it is a day to practice light. If your body is demanding that it has not recovered and you have still made it to the yoga mat next day, you will practice light. And practicing light will not mean that you are lazy. You will understand the difference between laziness and the demand of the body to go easy. This is what happens when you bring intentionality to the practice. Otherwise, people feel truly bad at not giving their all in a particular session. So that is taken up if you are moving towards purposeful practice with understanding. So I leave you with one single thought. Please try and utilize yoga for the full spectrum of benefit. Utilize it as a transformative tool which can help you manage multiple emotions as well as your body. Yoga does not treat body and mind separately. And when you practice yoga, it has an impact both on the body and the mind. And we must understand this and use yoga for the full spectrum of benefits it can give. So with this, I come to an end of today's session. I will be uploading all the 8 sessions that we have gone through. If you want to refer to these sessions, you will have them on YouTube by tomorrow. Thank you